Well, for starters, it's usually, but not always, in a red box. Some of you know that I am hunting down the PS3 Greatest Hits titles, otherwise known as the Red Box games. I only have about 45 more to go from the 166 or so, if you include the Red Box titles that aren't really greatest hits. Unfortunately, what I have left are some of the harder to find ones too, but I've also cracked a few of the rare ones already. Many of these titles I pick up on Whatnot shows where, a random Red Box would show up and nobody wanted these. It was the best way to start the collection in the beginning. Then local game shops filled in some of the gaps, but unfortunately GameStop is out of the equation with the lack of retro GameStops near me, and actually there's becoming a lack of GameStops near me, period, now with more of their closures. So how does a PS3 Greatest Hits title make it into my collection? And how can you tell if you're dealing with a PS3 Greatest Hits variant? Well, for starters, it's usually, but not always, in a red box. For example, here is Darksiders in a normal red Greatest Hits box. This is what they will typically look like. However, for some games like Heavenly Sword, it did not, and for no good reason, come in a red box. You can tell if you have a Greatest Hits version, however, by looking at the inside and seeing a blank white interior, and the manual will only have one page for notes instead of two. But otherwise, the outside, it looks exactly the same, so that's up to you if you must have it that way and know it's fully Greatest Hits. Still others like the Batman Arkham Dual Pack also did not have a red box, and this is because the red boxes never gained the ability to hold two discs like the already made regular cases, so in this sense it allowed money to be saved without a new design. And yet others didn't have the red box but had a sticker on the case, either at the top of the box or on the actual seal itself. You can see here's a copy of UFC Undisputed 2010 with a sticker on top of the case instead of on the box. It's really all over the place, and it's made spotting some of the titles hell without picking them up and taking a look at them. And some of these were behind glass, so you'd have to go and ask someone to come in and lock the case, take a look at it, and be like, it's not the copy that I wanted. And you kind of look like a fool. The second way to tell that you're dealing with the Greatest Hits is that most of them will have Greatest Hits written on the disc, but again, not in all cases. So here is Heavenly Sword again. Remember that it did not have the red box treatment on the outside, but on the disc, it has it on the inside. So you can see the red PlayStation 3 line with the Greatest Hits beneath it. And just like how the PS3 outside case changed their design from PlayStation 3 with the Spider-Man font up the side of the PS, it now has the PS3 logo across the top. And so too did the discs. Here you can see The Force Unleashed 2 with its red semicircle coloring and Greatest Hits on the bottom, and how it compares to the earlier Heavenly Sword title. Let's take a look at the Darksiders game again. It does not have the Greatest Hits on the disc. They did not reprint this disc, they simply reused the black label disc. And this was another cost savings that was chosen on some titles, but very few adopted this method. Still others, if you look at the UFC Undisputed 2010 again, has neither the cover art treatment or the disc treatment. In fact, in most cases with this game, if you have a used copy, you cannot tell if it originally came as the original game or the Greatest Hits. That makes the sealed variants highly sought after for this title, above most others in the PS3 Greatest Hits collection. Now, a benefit of the Greatest Hits is that oftentimes they have a more complete version on the disc, but again, not always. Take a game like Uncharted Drake's Fortune. It contains a later, more complete build of the game, and it has performance fixes, bug fixes, and more. The original disc contains 1.0 version, while the Greatest Hits variant contains 1.1. That's not a huge problem for a lot of people, but one day when the servers are offline, this variant may be more sought after. Other examples of games that do similar are God of War 3 and Little Big Planet, so keep that in mind if you're playing offline as your primary goal. And there's also potential drawbacks as well. In some cases, the manuals are different in some way. Whether it's a cut down version, perhaps a black and white version, or just missing altogether, don't expect every PS3 Greatest Hits to have a top-notch manual in it. Buying a manual on its own is often just as expensive as buying the game. So keep that in mind if manuals are important to you. Buy once, cry once. Make sure your games are complete if that matters to you. And one last thing, but I find it to be more annoying, is the fact that Sony released the same game multiple times in Greatest Hits format.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
I mean multiple times, not just twice. For example, Heavy Rain was released in a regular and director's cut version. Borderlands and Borderlands 2 also have their Game of the Year variants, as well as the regular. Why is that even a thing? And it's the most annoying thing about collecting the Greatest Hits variants, in that you can easily forget if you already have something simply because of the variants. Heck, Oblivion released 3 different times: a regular, 5th Anniversary Edition, and a Game of the Year Edition. Which one is most complete? I have no clue. So with that out of the way, let's kick off the Greatest Hits Hunt for Red Boxtober. It's a new series that I'm starting, and I wanted to kick it off with 7 recent pickups that I made while holiday shopping. I'll try to note how rare these are too, as I go through them based upon how often I've seen them in various places where I make my pickups. The first is Assassin's Creed 3, and for a series as popular as Assassin's Creed, the 3rd installment is on the rarer side to find in a Greatest Hits variant. That's not to say it's expensive, it's just harder to find. You can probably expect to pay $10 or less for this title complete in box when found, and it might be a title that you consider picking up on eBay or other platforms, as finding it in the wild may prove to be more difficult than some of the other Greatest Hits titles. This variant notes that it includes 4 additional single-player missions, though I'm unsure if they're on disc or if they require a download to play them. Next is Watch Dogs, and quite the opposite of Assassin's Creed here. I didn't think Watch Dogs was as popular on the PS3 to warrant a Greatest Hits variant, but here we are. I played the game on the PS4, and I loved it for what it's worth. I thought it under-delivered from the E3 glorified tech demo, but the game was a solidly good story and had fun gameplay. You could probably expect to pay $5 for this game, and I would reserve this exclusively for a random pickup in a shop or a convention, as it should be very common to find. This variant does not note that it includes any additional content over the original game. Here is Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution, and I found this one at a thrift store. It's a very common game to find. I honestly don't know how it became a Greatest Hits game. Are there that many people that wanted to play a Civ game on a console in 2007? I mean, I want to now just to see what it was like, but back then I would never have considered it. You can expect to pay $10 or less for this title, and again, I'd recommend that you wait for this to organically show up in your shop or at a thrift store or a yard sale, and not specifically seek it out online. Next up is Dishonored Game of the Year. It's important to note Game of the Year because this is one of those times where Sony created an updated version of the game and slapped the Greatest Hits on it. This version appeared to add 4 additional missions, stories, or DLCs on top of the original experience. You can expect to pay $10 or less for this title, and please note it only comes with a white insert and not the full manual. While this game is not rare to find, I did go over a year before I saw a copy in person, so I would say this is bordering on the uncommon side, but still not one that I would go out of my way to order online and pay too much for. Supply is still plentiful for this one. Here we have Warhawk, and this game makes me mad because it's one of the earliest multiplayer-only games. Sure, there's a single-player training scenario, but in large, this is a multiplayer-only game. There isn't much to say about this one. It's common. I see it everywhere. It sucks that it's now just a relic, and you have to expect to pay $10 or less for this, and then you're going to place it immediately on your shelf. You can't even play it. I would definitely not special order this or seek it out. It will find you like a heat-seeking missile. Speaking of multiplayer-only games, it's MAG, This game has no single player offline at all, not even a tutorial. This is another one of those games that kind of pisses you off to buy today, if you're going for a complete collection. Luckily, it's super common and very cheap. You can expect to pay $5 or less for it. And for being a game that I cannot even play, would you be shocked if I told you that I've bought this game multiple times? Probably half a dozen or so times? Why on earth, right? Well, because they sell it for $1 starts on Whatnot all the time. And you can't pick up an official Red Box case for $1 anywhere. So I picked them up for the case alone, because to me, the case is worth more than the game itself. Right? It's insane. Now you know my dirty little secret. The final game that I want to share today is The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. This is the original Greatest Hits version, commonly called the white cover variant. There's another Game of the Year edition, commonly called the black cover variant. And oddly enough, this white cover is super rare to find for a Greatest Hits, even though it's not very expensive, while the black cover is very common to find. You can expect to pay $10 or less for both versions regardless. This is one where I don't understand why it's not more expensive, but I do at the same time. While it is rarer to find this, that lack of content compared to the other version likely doesn't allow the price to go up too high. I feel it's being priced based on the non-Greatest Hits variant too by most people, and that's a common thing that you'll see when hunting these down. And hey, I'm just fine with that. Go scoop your copy up today on eBay and other locations. This is one I would not wait on. It's not impossible to find, but if you get it, you should feel lucky. Seriously, what are you waiting on? Open a tab right now and get it. I'm really excited to go through this series and talk about the complexity of picking up each of these titles. I would really like your feedback on the new series. I expect them to be relatively short videos, with this one being longer since I wanted to detail the backstory of the PS3 Greatest Hits titles, but please, let me know your thoughts on this. I'm pretty passionate about the PS3 as it hits the perfect mix for me of just retro enough with just modern enough feel to not frustrate me while playing it. Well, we'll see you next time on Let's Build a Collection.